Oh, hello. Hi there. Well, welcome to the Shawl Knitter Unplugged. If it's your first time, thank you for coming to take a look. If you're returning, it's wonderful to have you back. I'm sitting here today in Sedgefield, South Africa, and it is a rather gorgeous, rainy, wet spring day. The rains have come very hard, and we actually had a glorious thunderstorm this morning. And yep, that's a sure sign of spring. So soon we will be heading into spring and summer and the beach and sunshine and all those good things. But today I'm here totally bundled up, as you can see, and I am knitting away quietly, enjoying a peaceful moment in the house where nobody's around. There's just the birds twittering in the background, which I think you can hear. And I'm knitting away on this absolutely massive, but quite lovely, I think, Garter Abyss shawl from Stephen West, and it's a fade. So I'm currently fading into, I'm on my 4th color now, and I will be going 1 color further, which I should have brought to show you, but you'll see when I knit it. This thing is massive. I think I'm already on 800 or 900 stitches. I'm not actually a counter of stitches. I would say I hate counting, but I don't really count that often. You know, if I'm knitting a pattern and the stitch count works out well, then I know I've got the right amount of stitches. If I haven't, I take a closer look, and if I can fudge it and add in 1 or take away, I do that too. But I'm not the kind of person that counts every, 5 or 10 or 20 rows. I do sometimes put a few stitch markers on my needle so that I know how many stitches are between those stitch markers. But with this one, I have decided not to do that. These stitch markers are where the increases are. And I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be so huge. My only problem that I'm thinking about right now is where am I going to block such a massive thing? And from what I've seen, you don't block it sort of straight. You block it in this big spiral, and it takes up a lot of space. So that is going to be interesting. So I think I'm going to put on my beanie because I'm rather chilly. This is a fun beanie I made. This, I'm not even sure exactly what this is called, but this is not a pure wool. It might have 10 or 20% wool. It's mostly acrylic, but it was this lovely self-striping sock wool. It's rather large bands for the stripes, and I made this completely twisted rib hat on a 3mm needle. So it took a while, but it's very light and airy, and it doesn't squeeze my head. And that's the problem I have with hats, is I can't manage if they squeeze my head, because then I just want to take them off. So yes, today what have I got for you? Well, I just suddenly realized that the 3 things that I'm currently working on are all from Stephen West. Surprise, surprise. Yes, I'm knitting on, of course, the Garter Abyss, and I'm nearly, well, I don't know if I'm nearly there, because I'm sort of doing it in between. It's just plain Garter, few increases, more Garter, bigger stitches, more stitches, and then it'll be the famous I called bind off at, I think it's 1030 stitches. So am I looking forward to that? Well, I really, am looking forward to seeing it off the needle. So I guess I am looking forward to that. So that is that. The other thing I picked up recently, I've been waiting, I'm a sock knitter in between big projects, and, I always keep socks to knit when I travel. If I go somewhere and I have to sit in the car, or I have to wait for somebody or whatever, if I'm on the road and out and about, I take my socks with me. I sometimes go on my bicycle here where I live down to the lake, and there's some beautiful benches there, and I sit there and knit my socks. So I finished the pair of socks that I was working on, and I think I actually just better get up and fetch them. So these are the socks I've just finished knitting. These are absolutely gorgeous. They are the Cal d'Oro socks by Sam, the Irish Knitting Podcast, an Irish knitter. And they are totally lovely. I think I have shown them once before. They've got this lovely double cable up to the heel. And then this fantastic heel, which I was very curious to try out, which he picked up from his grandmother. Very simple, no gusset, no picking up stitches along the side. Wonderful. It's a great pattern. And I have made them in this beautiful sort of crunchy blue-faced Leicester. So the back, of course, is plain, and then the front has the cable that runs down each side. And it's this wonderful variegated, beautiful yarn that I bought online, and was very delighted to find out that it's blue-faced Leicester, because I didn't know we could get that here in South Africa. So obviously somebody's brought this in. And there is my pair. And the minute there is a sunny day ahead, I will be blocking them. So they're knitted top down, and the cable's very simple, just a very ordinary 6-stitch cable. I just love the definition, and on this yarn it's just crisp and delightful. So that's a pair of socks done. So what I like to do is, when one pair of socks is done, I like to at least cast on a new pair so that I'm ready to go. So I did that. I had this very wild skein of sock yarn. Look at all these colors. I should have shown you a picture before I balled it. I've just balled it up now. This was called Night Orchid, and it's by a fairly new indie dye in South Africa called Big Fox. They do very saturated colors, and this I think is going to be absolutely perfect for my next sock pattern. It does have 25% nylon and superwash merino, so it's a perfect sock yarn. And yes, I think it was on Thursday, Stephen West brought out his first pair of socks, and that was very exciting. So I got the pattern. It's called Rain or Shine Socks. And of course it's knitted with scraps, lots of colors, lots of slip stitches, very exciting. And also very interesting heel that I have seen Barbara knit from Iceland. She does a garter heel. And I know she works very closely together with Stephen, and so his first sock does have this garter heel. It looks very good. So I'm going to give that a try, and I'm really looking forward to that. So that's the second Stephen West project that I'm busy with. The third one is actually one that I've finished, and there's another one that I'm busy with. So this is my absolute delight. If you follow me on Instagram, my name on Instagram is Tribal Bling. I'll put that down below. You will see I've done a lot of showing of my absolutely gorgeous Garter Marler cardigan. This cardigan has given me so much joy. It's long, very long. There's the bottom of it. And I have split the rib. I've made a little split rib, and it's really warm, very heavy actually. I guess you know the story, maybe. I think I have said it before. I knitted this scrappy marled blanket, which was actually from a free dishcloth pattern design, which I thought would be a good idea. I knitted the entire blanket. It was really lovely. It was very heavy. And, you know, I just thought, what a waste. I want to wear this. So maybe I'll undo it and, you know, maybe I'll make a cardigan. Well, ho, ho. Next day, Stephen came up with the Garter Marler cardigan, and I said, there we go, it's a sign. So I frogged the entire thing, unraveled it into huge cakes, just as it was knit, and I set out on this gorgeous cardigan. So it's knitted top down, it's just got a circular yoke, and just use up all your scraps, marl them, change your colors, go to town, have fun. So I did all of that. But then I decided I didn't want big bulky sleeves. You know, I really like sleeves. This is almost a jacket. It's very thick. I knitted it on a 4mm needle. He suggested, no, did I knit it on a 4.5? No, I knitted it on a 4 because I knitted the blanket on the 4.5 and I found it very stretchy, you know. So I thought with a cardigan, if I knit it on the 4.5, it's just going to hang and it's going to stretch and stretch out because it's garter. So I knitted on a 4mm needle. So that's given it a really nice, thick texture, a wonderful fabric, really perfect and so warm. But I wanted the sleeves to be hugging. So I just decided to knit the sleeves in a 3-1 rib, 3 plain 1 purl rib. I didn't increase or decrease throughout. I just started with the number of stitches required to pick up, and I just kept on going. And then very near the end, I think in the last 6 centimeters or so, I just decreased on every 3 plain leg and to make it 2, and then I ended off with a 2x2 purl. So that worked perfectly, and it is so stunning. I'm totally in love with it. And just as I finished it, the cold weather came around and I'm able to wear it. A lovely detail of this cardigan is the I-cord bind off on the button band. Really lovely. It just finishes it off so nicely. There's no I-cords on any other part of the cardigan. So there it is. And I knew I would need a lot of buttons, but when I was on my little knitting retreat, I did go to a yarn store and I found 2 different types of buttons that I liked. The one is wooden and the other one I think is probably just plastic, but it just goes. So I alternated those buttons and I ended up putting 7 on. And oh, I just love it. It's absolutely gorgeous. So, you know, I'm really excited about this cardigan because I knit mostly for my business, and it's not often that I do get to make myself a cardigan, very seldom in fact. So I'm just totally in love with this one. And yeah, I'm really happy that I'm going to get time to wear it still. Today I decided not to put it on because I can't stand up. I sit on my bed when I do this, so you know, I'll show you pictures of it in the thumbnails. You'll see, and I can direct you to my Instagram if you want to look at more. So today, besides this little soft twisted rib beanie, I'm wearing my big fluffy cowl, which I totally love, from Andrea Maury, and that's the Inclinations cowl. I have talked about it before. It's in half fisherman's rib. It's very soft. I did it in a combination of yarns that I had, which was a mohair and a lamb's wool cone that I found at a thrift shop, which was just a pure luck. So it's soft as anything. It's come out quite big, but I like it that way. So that is that. So I'm sort of in the mood for finishing projects that I've got lying around. I'm also in the middle of working on 2 shawls for orders. I think I'll keep that and show that to you next week. But I found, and I knew it was there, and I was sort of avoiding it. I don't really know why. But in the basket, in the bottom of my wardrobe, was my Penguino, which I started on a whim. I've wanted to make this for a long, long, long time. Many years, in fact, and you know, I'm not such a fan of using such chunky wool and chunky needles. It doesn't really sit so comfortably in my eyes. So I started it because I found some really funky multicolored yarns, and I love the Penguino. I really would like to have one. So I made quite a good start on it, and then I put it aside. I think that was in about March or April. And yesterday I got it out and I put it on my mannequin, and I thought, no, this is lovely. I am going to go for it now. So I'm going to try and show you it. It's very big. Sitting here next to me, this is one of the gorgeous, lushy, fluffy yarns, acrylic fur, absolutely beautiful in small quantities that I'm using in it. And it's got all sorts of everything in it, really. So look, this is it. It's big. Let me see if I can untangle it to show you. So I had knitted the body, the back and the front and a part of one sleeve. So I'm well on my way, you know, thank goodness I'm not sort of halfway up the back only, otherwise I wouldn't really be doing this now. But being a lovely cold day, this is a very big thing. It can sit over my legs and I can sit here and get into it. So this is the back. This is the back of it. I'm going to let it go right up so you can see every part of it. It's knitted in a self-striping. You know, I'm really bad. I never keep labels, but this is what the wool looks like. It might be kartopu, I'm not sure, but I've used variations of this multicolored acrylic and wool and mohair blend. It's really lovely. It's very soft. I think it's got quite a lot of mohair in it. And then I've combined it also with other mohairs and with some of my hand spun yarn. And I've got another bag of yarn somewhere that's full of the rest of what I'm using. And even some hand spun yarn from the mountains in India and some indigo dyed yarn. So I'm putting all of these together into this really wild, crazy pinguino, which I think is going to be lovely. So that's the back, and it has these lovely welts, very thick welts that go down the sides of the back, sort of just on the shoulder blade area. And then this is one of the sleeves. So it's knitted in pieces and pieces and more pieces. This I think I'm going to make a bit longer, but it's very hard for me to show you that. So that's the underarm, and there's another little panel there. And then the front is a crossover, and it's a totally different colorway. Again, in that gorgeous multicolored yarn, but in totally different colors. So the back and the sleeves are going to be really bright, and then the front is sort of more muted earthy shades, but there is still yet to be a collar and, you know, a lot of other things, and it's got to get longer. The bright green you're seeing is just my scrap yarn. So that's my project for today, sitting here on my bed with all my lovely fluffy fluffs, and this is so lovely. I've just used it quite sparingly just because it gives texture, but it's very beautiful. Here it is in the sleeve, and you saw it in the back as well. So I mean, that is going to be such fun, really. I'm madly in love with that. The only other thing that I have on my needles, which I did show you a while back, which is slowly progressing as well, which I love. I do love this. This is the Mare Shawl by Natasha Hornby. It's really lovely. I've knitted one before, but this is one knitted in some merino single that I dyed with indigo. It's the first time I've tried using indigo to dye. I do a lot of dyeing with acid dyes, but this is indigo. And yeah, it's very nice. It's an order, so it's a very denim-y blue, not for me, but very pretty. I can appreciate it. The thing is that at the moment, the color is still coming off on my hands as I knit it. Not so much, but I believe I have to do some more fixing of it once I've finished knitting it. So I'm sure that will be fine. So yeah, I think that's all the wooliness that I can show you for today. I have seriously jumped back into dyeing yarn, and I'm having such a great time with that. I'm dyeing up a merino linen base, a 2-ply fingering, which is really gorgeous, and I'm going to be selling the yarn as well as using some of it, but my intention is to sort of get a little bit more serious back into yarn dyeing. And I'm working on a very interesting project that hopefully will come to fruition overseas in Europe in the beginning of next year. So I am getting into the dyeing mojo. Lovely to bring back all the colors. It really feels like spring is coming. So I just would like to end with that and wish you all a fabulous weekend. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, keep cool. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, stay warm. We have had some snow on our mountains here in South Africa. In early springtime, we always get this really cold snap, and it's delightful, as the winter's been quite mild here, and now we can really enjoy the soaking rains, and our spring flowers up in the Namaqualand, I think, are going to be glorious. I'm just thinking of them with all my flowers surrounding me, sort of pretending that I'm there, and just enjoying the beauty of colors. So thank you so much for coming to visit me today. Take care, happy knitting, happy crafting, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much.